if you want battling, you find that often the greatest strategy and greatest battles are not with the strongest machinery in power. It's not with the highest level of aerodynamics. By no stretch of the imagination are you looking at, say, building a car that is all-conquering and all-powerful to get it done and over the line. It's in fact when you strip all of that away, when you go down to the bread and butter basics of what racing is all about, that you now find what great racing is all about. We'll get the Ray FF1600 out of the shed. We will get battling into full commitment as we hit Lime Rock Park, and racing action in your iRacing Creator Series now moves to the mid part of the season. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Jake Sperry with John Isamusing Harris. And John, we take Lime Rock Park as our circuit, the mecca of the northeast of the United States of America, a track so small that has done so much.
Oh yes, and you've got to love grassroots racing. This is where quite a few people begin their racing careers, just trying to get out on track, trying to at least get around one single lap. Now, we're hoping our creators today will do more than one lap. It remains to be seen. However, you cannot deny that mechanical grip, open wheel racing, and a track like this is just a combination that is peak perfection, in my opinion.
And if you look at peak perfection, you are going to find it here with us and the Creator Series, because we've been talking about what has been making all of the racing so interesting to behold. And it has been a championship of how do you hold yourself from week to week when it's a different car track combo each and every single time. And I think when we look over the course of this season, now would be a great time to jump over to the calendar and see exactly where we've come from and exactly where we're going to. You get a real understanding of we are right in the middle of Americana here at Lime Rock Park. You've then got the Ferrari Challenge coming up next week at Long Beach, and then the Legends Across the Licenses, which will be a very interesting special event that will come into play. So there's still a huge amount to look at on the horizon, John, and say, right, this is the next level. This is what we're trying to hit.
Yeah, with so much variety, you have to get into that sort of optic of trying to be the best around multiple tracks and car choices. Winning races doesn't necessarily mean being on top at the end of the season, and this is where crunch time happens, because halfway through the calendar, near enough means that points are on the board, and indeed championship challenges and fights are now starting to form, and content creators will have that in the back of their heads for sure.
They absolutely will, and they'll be looking at the championship and saying, well, if I haven't had the best start, which rounds can I look at to say I can target? So I'd be looking around and seeing that there are a little bit more exclusive style races. Vegas is one of them. The Indy 500's another that will basically form a double header that makes life maybe a bit more difficult. But I'm sure we're going to be in for a really good amount of racing. Let us look through at the championship standings as far as where everybody stacks up at the moment, but it has been the Kamikaze show, and by a fair margin, 270 points clear up at the top. Sparks is the nearest challenger in second, with Brendan Hyperstar in third. It's then Strasner and Aidan Poll which make fourth and fifth. Noel Tuckerman, No Monkey Matza, Aerotech seventh, Alex Gillen in ninth, and Ancephalosis making the top 10. John, I think the key here is, well, the one way you're going to get up there and fighting for the championship is turn up every race. Simple as that for the summer shake-up.
Yeah, that's the thing. Kamikaze has just been consistent and always there, as you said. And we've had some specialists, and they've been really good challenging and indeed winning, like Contantaloma last time out. But, you know, you need to be there to put points on the board. And especially with combo at the end that we have of the season, with the Pro Trucks at Brands Hatch and then the Formula One car at Nürburgring. I mean, you have to be on top of your game from start to finish. For the moment, that looks to be the way of Kamikaze, but everything can change. As you can see, the points all the way down the board are just really, really close. So if you get a really good race, you'll jump 5-6 places straight away.
Yeah, and if you jump on in, you will find just how incredible some of the battling is. For those who are just joining us live on iRacing YouTube, hello. Apologies for not getting to you any quicker, but we've done our best. Some amazing racing about to take its hold as we head towards qualifying with these FF1600s, and this is about as wonderful as an old school challenge that you can get. This is effectively the likes of your Formula Ford, by example. This is where the best of open wheel have started and plied their trade, saying this is the type of car we want to get right up to the very top. And it goes to show with the likes of the challenges that you have in the United Kingdom, like Knock Hill double races that they've got, and as well Brands Hatch when you get the Formula Ford Revival Trophy that comes into play. It is truly one of the most amazing spectacles.
Yeah, this is a car combo on track combo indeed, with the very fast flowing circuit where you learn the basics as qualifying gets underway just in front of our eyes. It's where you learn the trail braking, where you learn how to use the slipstream and overtakes and undercuts and overcuts, etc. But also where you learn the principle of momentum. These cars are about one thing: they're quite low powered, and that means you need to keep on throttle as much as possible. As we can still see, the track is still quite damp from a little bit of a rainfall in practice as drivers are trying to get their tires warmed up. But without the downforce, you have to slow down for the corners, and the drivers that will be fastest today are the ones that can just about carry the speed through the corners consistently.
Our focus is with the championship leader, Kamikaze, running, of course, with the Sunder Traffic Skull livery of IGL coatings that we've seen so often. Today, though, is going to be a very tough qualifying session, John. There's nothing different about it. It's 15 minutes worth of time. Everybody's going to be out there at exactly the same time. Track is drying, but at the end of 15 minutes, there is rain on the horizon.
That means it's time to box for hards for a certain team on the roster of higher up racing. But indeed, yeah, it means you have to put your laps in straight away. And Kamikaze getting right out there, wanting to be the first man to set a lap time. And it should be under a minute lap for most drivers, unless you're very unlucky or unless you have a few spins. So it's going to be all about us all parked on the apex there. Car 20, I think that was, parked on the apex. So not ideal, as they say, and Kamikaze avoiding that, but having to back off a little bit. So I think he'll just want to go for another lap, hopefully. But this should be a clean lap on the board. We'll have to wait and see whether it is a good time. So 51 seconds, 52, counting down to that 1 minute. Will it be under already? As you can see, drivers slipstreaming already in the background, 58.2. So well under a minute there. As you can see, the difficulty of no downforce.
You absolutely can. It was welcome to the Creator Series for T-George with that spin. Joshima's then being overtaken then into the opening corners there as Punju was out there on a lap making that run. And Cephalosis, who's 10th in the championship now, looking to try and make a bit of progress then with a first lap then. This will be a banker lap that you put down on the board, and that one will not count, so we'll have to go again and hope this will work. Love 46 then will make a charge, she will, heading for the line, and we'll see what this will do. This is a 59.3, 1.3 off the pace, but critically 6th fastest as far as it goes. Aiden Pole currently in the pole position on a 58 flat.
And look at those time gaps, you know, less than 2/10 to Kamikaze, Aerotech 5/10 off. They're just getting their markers in right now, just making sure that they set those banker laps. Because as well, Kamikaze 57.9. That is crazy. Strassner 58.8, which will put in P4 as well. So the pressure is on now to get that perfect lap, because it's such a short distance that you cover that literally 2/10 of a second will jump you that 5 or 6 positions. As we've got Brendan Hyperstar now P4, Punju jumping to P5 as well. Joshima's bumping Strassner down to P7 also. So in the blink of an eye, it changes. Chesnoid Gaming moves up to P7 now. So this is why you need to be out there with the track drying. You want to be doing laps and making sure that you get that crucial optimal track conditions.
Griff Blondie into 6th position, bouncing over the curbs goes Punju, and now looking to crest the rise. And as they go, they don't have the fearsome right-hander of uphill corner as it used to be on this circuit, which was a fast right-hander up the hill, and you'd actually lose contact patches as you go over the jump. But now through the downhill, which is the final corner on the circuit, Punju looking to charge over towards the line and goes to a 58.109, so doesn't gain position, but time. First start though behind for Blueberry as Punju goes around right in front of Blueberry there, and also Aerotech. So Blueberry to fourth, Aerotech to third, Aiden Pole back to the top on a 57.2. Blueberry, first VTuber I think ever in Creator Series ever.
I love to see the diversity. It's a unique concept and one that's growing in popularity, it must be said, so lovely to have them along. And it looks like they are perfecting their racing lines, that's for sure. Here's where the time will be gained and lost really in that chicane, because you just got to slow down a minimal amount, and as you said, you've no longer got this turn, which has been really tricky in the past, as Kamikaze still trying to chase down that lead. He's currently less than a tenth off of that time. But as the track goes along, you'll find that drivers perfecting their laps will make it so that it gets more and more tricky to get the job done. Joshua's across the line in just a couple of seconds. Will it be enough to improve 58.0? I don't think that was oh, it was an improvement. There you go, timing a delay there. 5th place right there, 0.3 of a second off the pace. That is, yeah, it's a small gap, but on a track like this, 0.3 of a second is quite a lot.
Yeah, Riff Blondie going 13th quickest then on a 58.3, but they say around a track like this, a second will feel like 2 seconds somewhere else out there. There are only 2 drivers now who have not set a time in qualifying, John. It's Alex Gillen and Tiamat Marduk.
Oh dear, well hopefully they haven't had coming together at any point around the track, but maybe just waiting for the track to dry out, to be fair. That's something very common that they wait for also, but you know, you need confidence here, and if you're not out there doing laps and not also learning where other drivers are strong or weak, it can be a real difficulty in the race. You know, here you need to be confident with how you go for your overtakes, so that means knowing the other drivers. As Cleo taking a very conservative line through the last corner. I think we'll be down a little bit on time. That is a 59.3, and she moves, well, she's down in 19th. I think she just briefly moved up and then got bumped down because Grand Poubert and El Zindriani have moved up to P7 and P17, P18 now.
Yeah, I love seeing Grand Poubert out there and racing. One of the brilliant characters that you'll find as Chesnoy Gaming goes around for a half spin and finds out once again just how difficult this track can be. It's very lightly wet. They are not going to have out there, John, the ability to change their tyres too much, because effectively what you have is a semi-slick. It is both a dry and a wet at exactly the same time, and because of that, as Strasner moves up to 5th position, then with a 57.7, you start looking around and saying, well, it's going to clear the standing water anyway, but if you catch a puddle, you may as well be going round and around and around.
Yeah, indeed, and it's so difficult sometimes to warm these tyres up because they are quite a hard compound normally, as running over a puddle there and collecting a huge amount of water on that right-hand tyre was El Zindriani, and sometimes it can be better to compromise your racing line a little bit just to keep the heat in the tyres, as we're getting overtakes in qualifying right now. They back out of it quite sensibly, but that just demonstrates how difficult it is to get the run on somebody, so you need to be pressuring them from a couple of corners behind, and then just hoping that they make a little mistake or have to compromise their line, so you can either dart up the inside or go around the outside. So it's going to be a very tactical race, and for El Zindriani, I'd be looking at backing off here just to make sure that I can get a clean lap in. I think she's visibly faster than the cars in front of her, but you know, you need to get that clean air.
Oh, that's a great time. That's a 58 flat from Els. That moves her up to 11th position. With that effort, off the road in front goes Blueberry, who's in 5th place. So lovely use of the slipstream to jump on up and gain a bit more time. This is the sort of qualifying with 6.5 minutes to go. It's not just how quick you are, it is about how you go about and find yourself a place on track. It is about giving yourself opportunities. Mac 212, for example, now into the top 5, and your top 2 in the championship are 1st and 3rd.
Yeah, that's a demonstration of force, isn't it? We were talking about being strong in every single car. And for Kamikaze, I must say also for Aiden Paul as well, but also for Sparks, an extension of that, that is demonstrating that they've been fast every single week, regardless of speciality, as Tim McMurdoch coming round the last turn here. Got a bit of traffic ahead of him. He is a very fast driver, so we want to clear that traffic, hopefully, across the line. Will it be a good time? It's looking like it might be a 57. Oh, 58.3. That will put him into the midfield, 14th place right there. And we have the sudden downpour at the end, the rain, and getting caught out immediately are certain drivers.
Right, so this is the crunch time now of the qualifying session. You feel like this is the final laps that are going to work. Kamikaze has pulled out to a 10th of a second on a 57 flat. And now as it looks to start bucketing it down, you can see the cloud cover that's gone over. It's now every lap for themselves. Scotty Designs, by the way, is going to cross on a 58.5, does improve, goes to 18th place with that effort, but the rain now starting to drop, and everybody is going to be on notice because from where the rain is coming in, it's going to be hitting the top side of the circuit first, and then is going to be blasting through everybody with wind speeds of 15 kilometers an hour.
It looks like it's raining all around the track already, but you're quite right. Oh, it was collision at turn 1. They're just desperate to get their lap. I didn't see exactly who that was, but the track map, they've already returned to pit lane, so it's very, very tricky out there. It looks like it might have been Alex Gillen, actually, maybe Aerotech as well involved in that. So that's super unfortunate because that is effectively the last laps they can get in. Everybody sliding off a little bit at turn 1. You can see the rain already accumulating on the inside there. It's crunch time and you may only have 1 or 2 laps before it gets too much to contend with. It looks like it might already be too much, as I'm not seeing anybody improving on their lap times at the moment.
Yeah, I'm looking at everybody about a second off the pace of what their best lap time is, with maybe the exception of Alex Gillard in 17th position, who may have chosen the wrong time to go out there, as Supreme now looks to crest the rise. But I think this is going to be a case of you've caught the rain wrong. You needed a time early out there, and with what is 3.5 minutes to go, I look at the weather here for this race, and on the radar, it says this: it is going to rain for the next 15 minutes. Outside of that, for the rest of the race, it will dry and dry and dry.
I'll give that an 8 out of 10, by the way, for Tim McMurdoch. That drift was really nice. Oh, someone off in the background. I think that was T. George off in the background there. As, yeah, it's just so rainy here at the moment. You can see the drivers just struggling for traction. I think for Tim McMurdoch and Alex Ginnon, I don't know why they were waiting in the pits. The rain was forecast, so, yeah. Very bizarre decision, maybe a little bit of overconfidence there. As you can see, as you hit the puddles with no downforce, you lose all traction, and Tim McMurdoch was skedaddling all over the track there just before entering the chicane. So very tricky, and I dare say I don't think anybody's going to be improving from here on out, but we have to wait and see. Miracles can be performed in these cars.
I think this is more a scenario of drivers wanting wet weather practice late on here as they go, as we take a little look here at this, John. I reckon this is a chance to say, well, if you were quick in the dry, that's one thing, but you do have to master the wet. And I am looking at pit entry as possibly the toughest thing. They are going to be fuel limited today to 50% of the tank. And at the moment, there is a huge puddle right on the yellow line to enter pit lane.
Tim McMurdoch all the way around this time. It's one of those things actually where I'd say that rally practice, for example, or rallycross like we did last week, is actually very useful, because at this point you've got no downforce, you've got limited traction, it's rear-wheel drive as well, so you're kind of drifting all the time. So if you've got drifting practice like Aerotech, that would be very useful also. And it's just the case of not having understeer. The one thing you don't want in the rain is understeer. You want to keep it always a little bit on throttle so the car's rotating all the time. But it's a fine line, as drivers are finding out. And I think you're quite right. They're getting practice in, to be fair. I didn't really think of that, but very well thought out there, Jake. And yeah, maybe that will come in useful as the rain continues to fall even worse now. Look at that spray kicking up. And as you can see, a puddle on the entry, as you said, right there, just pointing it out on the yellow line.
Very tough for them to deal with. T. George down near the bottom on a 58.5. That was a 103.2, so 5 seconds slower on that go with just a minute left. We know that the timing bands are going to stay exactly where they are. But here's the key as well with this rain. We've got 5 minutes of warm-up as well. So they're going to have maybe 5 minutes of rain at the start of this race. So that will encapsulate the first 5 laps of running. And then the other 55 that come along after that is on a track that dries.
Oh, what terrible racing conditions. That's the one thing that you don't want, is a rainy start as a driver. That just fills you with all the types of anxiety possible. And I think it's just going to be down to confidence then. So quite rightly so, drivers out there getting practice. In fact, I'd find a part of the track where I can practice a simulated race start just to make sure that I know how much traction I've got. Well, apparently for one driver there, not enough traction. 2 drivers off at the last turn. Not ideal at the downhill, but yeah, definitely time to get some practice in before the warm-up. Use all of those laps to judge where the grip is, where the puddles are as well.
One of the most loaded sections on the circuit, that final corner with the variants that we have today. Checkered flag then is out and drivers are all allowed to finish any lap times that they start. So it is all about now just getting themselves over, and there's a little bit of fun as they go through. Encephalosis then, and I believe T. George coming together then, giving a little bit of afters amongst each other as they finish their qualifying, because they know there's nothing to race for out there in the remaining of this qualifying session. They will try and bleed out the remaining 50 seconds that's there before we switch on over in towards your warm-up and then the running of the race here overall. But you have to say in qualifying, it is Mr. iRacing Creator Series who is on top at the moment, and that is Kamikaze.
Yeah, impressive pace in qualifying. He's always had a quick streak for just getting that perfect lap in, but Aidan Paul and Sparks will hope to deny him of a victory today. They're definitely close enough in terms of race pace. They had consistency as well. Let's see if we can get the results then. So Kamikaze on pole with a 57.0 there, with Aidan Paul just a 10th behind. Sparks in P3 on the second row of the grid, 3/10 behind, with Aerotech just 100th behind in P4. Matt 212 will be P5, just another 10th behind, with Blueberry P6. Love 46 P7, Strasner P8, with Punju and Supreme TV completing the top 10.
Yep, so 0.8 of a second, splitting those up near there at the front, with the likes then of those behind looking to give chase. El Zindriani, Joshimas, Brendan Hyperstar, you can put in that mix as well, down in 13th position as far as qualifying goes. So certainly looking to prove that today's action is going to be all about challenge. But I would say the challenge will be who manages what. And I'm just looking around at these warm-up conditions here, and they've actually advanced to 10:40. So the rain has, in fact, already come and gone as far as qualifying goes. But some things just seem to stay the same as far as Creator Series here in iRacing is concerned, and that is that Kamikaze has been the best driver in qualifying. And, well, Kamikaze, it's simple. You're leading the championship by over 200 points, and now you've put the car on pole position in some very variable conditions.
Yeah, I can for sure say it's not simple at all. It's so slippery out there and so much traffic. So this will be an interesting evening on the track for sure.
In terms of the... Oh, sorry, go on, right?
No, absolutely. In terms of now what you look at here in this race, we're through the wet weather period that's gone on through. It is expected to remain dry for the rest of the race. So dealing with a track that's wet on semi-slick tyres, what has been the difficulty factor when you've gone into trying to put this race together and working out how am I going to get the best of the tyres underneath me?
I wish it was wet the whole race, because then I had a bigger chance to maybe build a gap, because that's my background. It's a little bit looser underground, so yep. You see the straight away when the track is drying up. Competition is hard. Competition is good today. It's so funny.
We're going to have to find some way to nerf you at some point. We'll figure it out eventually. But what can you explain to us then, for our viewers, what allows you to get that extra pace coming from, for example, WRC background or from learning different disciplines?
I'm coming from WRC, and we have driven a lot on wet tarmac there with, for example, bad tire choices, and we had maybe slicks on the car when we go on the wet track or wet stage. You need to look for the what do you call it, the driest part of the track, and not specific the race line, because the race line is full of what you call it, rubber, so it will be even slippier in the race line. So you need to search for grip every turn, every braking zone, every acceleration zone. Maybe lurk on the third gear instead of going down one gear. So maybe use the torque instead of the horsepower. So yeah, it will be interesting.
And so now, as it comes to racing action, you've got pretty much every contender you can think of behind you. Aidan Pole, Sparks, Aerotech, Matt 212. It's pretty star-studded behind you.
Yep, and everyone is fast today. Every car on this grid has a chance to win today, because everything can happen in these conditions. So you don't need the pace, you need the consistency, and you need the good pitch strategy, because for sure it will be safety car today. And take good choices. So, and I think we'll have a good evening today, and for sure it will be more than one pit stop.
So we will wish you the best of luck with strategy. Kamikaze there joining us and looking to make everything all about getting another victory notch in the back pocket. John, this is where we start thinking about, okay, well, how do you stop Kamikaze in terms of this race? He would have preferred it wet, which means that the longer that you can hold on to the rear, and these cars are very good at slipstream, and that's the way you're going to win. You can't outpower anyone in these cars. You have to outwit. I think if you can stay on the rear of Kamikaze, you've just got to make him get into a position where he just doesn't want to be.
Yeah, I'd say I'd go one further, having raced Kamikaze a lot on WRC and other games. You've got to sort of play the man at that point. You've got to overtake him and try and pull away, because no ill intent towards Kamikaze, obviously, but I know that if you push the limit a little bit, if you push him to go 101%, for example, he will try and follow, and that's when you can get a mistake out of him. So you've got to, as I said during the practice, you've got to, and qualifying, you've got to know who you're racing, you've got to see where they're weak, and if you're behind Kamikaze for the opening laps, you've just got to see where he's making the mistakes, where he's losing traction compared to you, and then choose your moment to pounce. The pit stops will actually have a big effect, because it's your only opportunity to break that slipstream. And so if you can time it right, if you can get out in open air, it's going to be brilliant.
Well, here at Lime Rock Park, there is no place like home, and home will start with us here and a full pace lap behind the iRacing Porsche first safety car. The best chance then to run through how they stack for today's race of 60 laps of action, which means there is everything and then some to deal with. Kamikaze will have control of the field with Aidan Pole alongside on that front row. Row 2 will house second in the championship Sparks, along with Aerotech, who's up there in the championship as well. Just 100th between them. In 5th, it's Matt 212 looking to challenge with the VTuber Blueberry, who will be going from 6th position, looking to race up and chase. Love 46, great qualifying by her. She's up in 7th, with Strasner in 8th place, akin more to a lot stronger of an open wheel car in the Mercedes W13E Performance. Punju will go from 9th place in the Rainbow Bands. Last year was a winner of the MS race for a Cure and didn't quite get it happening, as they all now start to go. Your top 10 was rounded out there by Supreme TV, as we just lost our grid there for the moment. Row 6 will be Els Indriani and Joshimus. I'll run through as it goes, with Brendan Hyperstar and Tiamat Marduk on row 7, and Riff Blondie 15th, along with Devon Butler, Adam Sanderson in 16th place. Then Alex Gillen in 17th, along with Graham Poubert in 18th, as Scotty Designs and Chesnoid Gaming will make up your top 20. T-George on debut is 21st with Ancephalosis in 22nd, and rounding the back of the field is Killer Cleo, looking to make this a last to how far up the field can I go challenge. And a little look at what is a very puddly circuit still. It's declared as lightly wet here for this start, so you'll still see the rooster tails, but the moment, John, that a dry line forms, that's when the racing is going to get interesting.
Indeed, look how narrow it is as well. So even on this formation lap, drivers are struggling to stay in formation. You've got to really, really just push the limits as much as you can, but also stay alive. You've just got to stay clean and make sure you pick up no damage. That's how you can get the good race, and indeed, very easy to come into contact with this open wheel format.
Yeah. So this is where it is all about what can you do. Everybody feels like they've got a bobsled now and they've got to go and get the most out of track with 60 laps to try and determine who you are and where you need to be. Aggression is going to be paramount. With the pace car in, it's going to be a late launch then as it goes through from Kamikaze. Aiden Paul immediately covers to the inside against Sparks and Aerotech going to the outside of the Big Ben. Turns 1 and 2, and Aerotech is going to go straight on at the opening corner. He'll drop a couple places for it to Matt 212, for example, and Sparks. And now around the outside, we'll try Love 46, who will get a great launch and makes it happen. There's a little tag in the middle for Punju, trying to avoid all of the dramas, but it's been relatively clean here off of this start.
At Marduk all the way up to 12th place as well, making a few position gains. Very clean racing, and Aerotech was very lucky to get it all up the, well, around the outside now goes Love 46, so making up even more positions on Matt 212 that was. So Matt just getting the braking wrong a little bit. I think it hit a puddle there on the braking zone.
And Matt's around, has tagged with Aerotech, and now they're going to go scattering across the circuit. Someone else has been caught up in the instant. Nobody's hit the barriers. It's Strasner pointing the wrong way then and looking to get back to position. There's a huge instant then through the diving turn of that final corner downhill. Scotty Designs, Els Indriani, and Alex Gillen caught up as Joshimas moves for the inside.
Oh, very brave. Punju's gone onto the grass there a little bit and has given up the position willingly. I think he just got the braking wrong a little bit. Supreme PV behind him. And we got a replay of Alex Gillen, what has happened here. So braking just into the last turn. He's been tagged around. Yeah, just clip the wheels there and it's so easy. And then you've got to cooperate with the other drivers to actually get free. And that means that you've lost a good 10 seconds there while you get back up to speed.
Scotty there with the troubles and straight on. Joshima's overcooks it and now's going to have to serve the slow down penalty here. And look who's going to go streaming by up the hill. Brendan Hyperstar, Aerotech, Tiamat Marduk, Adam Sanderson will go through. And now sweeping Aerotech tries the outside line to make it work just in front of that. Supreme and Punju now together. Front of the field, by the way, it's Kamikaze, Aiden Pole and Sparks. And then pretty much best of the rest as there's a slide through the middle of the corner. Ancephalosis, Matt 212, all caught out then going through the corners. And it all started with Grand Pooh Bear across the circuit, tagging along as they go.
Got Joshima's fighting here to try and get past Punju. Punju putting up a very brave defense here. And just, Supreme. Sorry, I'm not exactly sure what Supreme overtaking Punju. Sorry, my apologies, got the name wrong there. So yeah, very good overtake. I think we saw a car just lose it there, just going into the chicane once again. So yeah, very, very tricky conditions. Although you can see that the puddles are diminishing, and that will mean that the racing lines open up a lot, and it means you can take different lines through the corners and keep your momentum as all over the wet patch. And Supreme once again get past Punju as he will try around the outside. The battle carries on. That's how you can get a really good, and Love 46 is off the track there, so more drama happening than we can talk about. And Sparks, I think they might have come together indeed.
Well, this was started with Sparks. It's two separate incidents. Sparks going through the final corner, just tags the grass on the exit, and Love 46 on her own as well down the hill, just doesn't catch the corner brilliantly and slides off of her own accord. This is Love 46 there, just seeing the front end, deciding it wants to see the rear, and that is how quickly it can turn around. So two drivers right up there on the pointy end, finding troubles immediately out there as far as racing goes. Matt 212's got a penalty, by the way, and that's just been cleared by race control. But for the moment now, it builds up. Blueberry now up into third position. Up the hill, Adam Sanderson, after starting 16th, is now going to be scrapping hard here for that 7th place against Tiamat Marduk. Gets it, but what a crossover by Tiamat Marduk straight down the hill and gets it sorted. And that was daily the way that move was done, because you would look at that and say absolutely magnificent.
Well, fighting though, Adam Sanderson putting up a brave fight, got the slipstream, has got the apex indeed as well, the inside line. Tiamat Marduk trying to do the switchback, they have to cooperate, wheel banging right there as both of them get through the turn eventually, but my days, that was very close action and very good racing from both of them, it must be said.
It very much is, and you start working out who's managing what. Tiamat Marduk there with Love 46 and T George. We're only 5 laps into 60 laps worth of racing. Let's get out on a lap count, why don't we, to say just how quickly this race is going to fly by. They're doing 1 minute at the front of the field at the moment, waiting for the track to cool on down. And to the outside, Tiamat Marduk still watches Adam Sanderson try what he can, and he lifted very early because Tiamat Marduk's gone soaring through the middle of the corner, and Love 46 will get 2, and there's a slide through the final corner. Aerotech goes around, and so too there did T George.
Yeah, I think Aerotech had to just go off in avoidance there. It was just a little bit wide in the last turn and saw a car just parked on the exit curb. That's the problem you've got as well with a lot of corners unsighted through here, or with very fast apexes. You can't always see what's happening, as we've still got this battle between Supreme, Punju, and now Brendan Hyperstar as well, adding his little bit of a spice into the mix. He's got the enviable position of just sitting there waiting for the others to make a mistake, and he can now just look at what they're doing, looking at where they're getting it wrong, where his line's better. For example, getting a much better exit from the chicane and putting pressure on Punju, who's taking very aggressive curb lines, but that means that the tyre is losing contact with the ground and he's losing time and indeed traction doing that. Although a very nice entry into the last turn will get him right on the back of Supreme TV.
Very much looking over there, does Brendan Hyperstar at his chat that he's got going along as he streams live, thinking about the way that Big Ben is going to be one of the great places to get the passes done, and you need to think sometimes even a lap in advance to go and get the move sorted. Thinking to the outside of the left-hander, very imaginatively named corner here around at Lime Rock Park, but even more imaginatively named right-hander that comes along immediately after. Punju still in the middle of the train right now and holding that station. Brendan trying to work to that inside, not making it happen. Running a mock-up Ayrton Senna livery, but instead of the Brazilian flaggers, there goes the mistake by Supreme. It's the St. Helena flag that is there on the front, and now to the outside of West Bend tries Brendan Hyperstar, and now tries to keep the foot in for the downhill.
Oh, what an unfortunate move there, as they're just still battling Punju, just trying to keep momentum on the inside, but it looks like there's actually more water on the inside of the corner, so that would indicate why people are going wide. Brendan Hyperstar to the inside there, just trying to get the move done. I think he's got it done, actually. Punju carrying the speed round the outside, incredible stuff. I must admit, for these next turns as well, at the wheel tapping, I expected them to just do the switchback, but Punju's been denied of that. Through the left-hander they go. I would have named it the right-hander just out of spite. Now through the right-hander, as it looks like they are line astern once again, but some moves also going with Sparks and T George. Sorry, that might have been Adam Sanderson actually in the background. Yes, Adam Sanderson has got past Sparks there, as I think Sparks made a little bit of a mistake in turn 1.
Well, so did Tiamat Marduk, going wrong place, wrong time, out there and spinning at the Big Bend, and so that would be a couple of places gone in the back pocket. So Adam Sanderson and Sparks there, and there is Tiamat Marduk. We've seen him try and go full drift spec. That was about 3 or 4 rounds ago. You had the 86 that was in play, so wrong round.
I don't... Oh, wow. And that is the crash there. That is the incidents that we were talking about earlier. Yeah, indeed. Unfortunate. And as we were saying, the rejoins... Oh! Off goes... was that a Grand Pooh Bear? Yes, indeed it is. And that's huge damage on the car. One of the wheels not rotating. He's going to have to park it tow it back to the pits. It remains to be seen whether he can get that repaired, hopefully so. But Tim McMurdoch moving up to P14 as well. Let's see if we can get a replay of what happened. Will we be able to see? Indeed, it's got to be just a loss of traction at some point, isn't it? And that was a replay. We weren't able to see exactly what happened there, as we've got Kamikaze and Aidan Pole fighting now for P1. This is what we can see now live on our feed. And it looks like Kamikaze is just very comfortable sitting behind, maybe trying to eke out the fuel a little bit, just do some lift and coast. Although, you can see there the aggressiveness of a rally driver just chucking it into turn 1.
Yeah, and that was where the move was made. Last lap, turn 1, Aidan Pole down the inside of Kamikaze and says, I will take some control at the front of this field. There's a look at the move then for the race lead. It was as simple as this. Follow in my tow, pull over to the wetter part of the circuit down on the inside. You need a lot more bravery and commitment to make that work, and managed it brilliantly. And that holds them into position. These two, not teammates in any way, shape or form here on lap 10 of 60, but trying to build a gap, and Aidan Pole runs wide. Kamikaze retakes the lead. If they keep going like this, they'll allow Blueberry into the mix.
They just locked the brakes there on turning, just I think the inside brake, and that just meant they went onto the slightly damp patch on the outside. They had to abandon keeping the corner. That means Kamikaze is back in the lead. You can see how much they're concentrating, just trying to get the car rotated. You can see on the steering there that it's as soon as you turn in, you've got oversteer, you've got to correct it, and you've got to do this seesaw motion that has so much potential to just give you a kick of oversteer that you have to correct, and then you're flying off into the barriers like we've seen earlier.
John, is it you, or is it me, or is it the fact that looking at Aidan Pole's livery, I'm very much quenching my thirst here for a cream soda?
All of the above, I think.
All of the above, and we'll see that here as Aidan looks to get the concentration face going and trying to chase on and gain a bit more out there as we take this wonderful look at the livery here of Aidan Pole. Looks brilliant out there as it looks to make that charge and work forward. 4th, 5th and 6th continue on their race as well. Punju now clear of Brendan Hyperstar with Supreme behind. Love 46 trying to rejoin to the lead. Aidan Pole to the inside off of the Sam Posey straight at Big Bend, and again you've got to try and make it work, and does. When you've got one dry line like you do on circuit here at the moment, it's a tightrope. Everyone's got to run on it.
Yeah, that dry line has just appeared in this last lap or so. It definitely wasn't there 2 laps ago, let's put it that way. And that means that everything dynamic-wise changes now. Because as a defending driver like Punju is right now, he wants to stay on that line and not move off it at all. It'll give you better grip, better tyre temperatures, and more importantly, everyone else has to drive a non-optimal line to get around you. So Punju just dipping his wheel onto the puddles there, still in formation. This means that we might have a little bit of time where there's a bit of a lull in the action, although looks like Supreme wants to get past Brendan Hyperstar yesterday, so we might see an overtake here. They're definitely close enough, and I think Brendan Hyperstar losing a little bit of the toe down the start-finish straight as we go into downhill corner now, just trying to keep it flat. It's near enough flat, but not quite. They've got a good run here into turn 1, I think.
Yeah, this is where you need that double toe in play, and Supreme here thinking about it, but lifts going into the opening corner. So happy with that position. You've got Love 46 now on the back, making it a train of 4. Sparks is also trying to join it, make it a train of 5 here for 4th position. We talk about points and how critical they are and how many you can pick up just by keeping yourself in and around right place, right time. It's that sort of scenario that you see in the middle of this group, where if you can just work your way through the train, it's going to be really beneficial, because drivers will start getting aggressive here, will start thinking about each other, and when Brendan Hyperstar is having to drive in the mirrors, as he is right now, Punju gets the opportunity to walk away. Supreme with a good run out of West Bend, running under the Bailey Bridge and through the downhill. It's this final corner you've got to get correct, and everybody stamping on the throttle, looking for the drive at over 200 kilometers an hour.
Will he go for it? It's questionable. No, stays behind at the moment. I think just trying to put pressure on so that they make a mistake. Just want to point out as well, all of the drivers that we saw driving around at the end of qualifying when it was raining have actually done very, very well at the start of this race. Unfortunately for people like Aerotech, they did get caught out by crashes. However, they are progressively moving up and they are much faster than certain drivers in front of them. Also, Alex Gunn and Tim Marduk posting fastest laps last time round at 58 for a lot of the drivers in the top 10 now. So, Punju makes a mistake. Brendan Hyperstar makes a mistake as well. Both of them going wide. That means that Supreme can get to the inside, and he's taken both of them on one straight in one foul swoop. That is incredible, opportunistic, love to see it, but now can he pull away? I think Punju and Brendan Hyperstar will want to close that and just re-overtake immediately.
The answer is, I think Punju said okay over the radio, as in, okay, that position's gone, but I'll try and get it back, and he really has a go into the opening corner there, weaving about like crazy, trying to get his one change of direction sorted before another big throw in. And wide goes Brendan Hyperstar, and that's going to bring Love 46 side by side, and she will get the run through the right-hander, and that is pass made. Now Sparks is going to get the launch to the uphill chicane, and if you can beat it on the brakes, this is what they've engineered as the new updates to this circuit. A brand new overtaking opportunity here that allows for more close quarters combat racing. Sparks not close enough on then the roll hoop with Love 46.
That was, incredible bit of driving, and they're just being opportunistic. I think the fact Brendan Hyperstar just got off the racing line and onto the slightly damp patch, you could see he was struggling for grip and couldn't do anything about it. The 46 looks like she wants to get the move done, going to the inside. Punju just keeps the throttle on a little bit longer, but it will go deep into turn 1 potentially. No, indeed, turn 2. They both keep all on the apex. Looks like Punju is struggling for grip. He's a little bit inconsistent in the lines. That would be reassuring for everybody around him, unless you're in front, obviously, because the braking zone might be a little bit different. But you can just judge that and just wait for Punju to make a little bit of a mistake and hopefully benefit from it. But Punju's got the pace, but the consistency a little bit lacking at the moment as Love 46 goes into the back and is collected by Brendan Hyperstar. Visible damage there on the front tyre, I think, and that is devastating. It can all happen so fast. And in a blink of an eye, your race goes from really good to really, really terrible, and you can see visible big damage on that right front.
That's what you call overcooking the corner. And Love 46 then sees Brendan Hyperstar now start to fall a lot further away by comparison. So that will bring Love 46 into the pit, and I would expect that will also be, with the damaged front right suspension, a case of what can I do? They have changed at the front. Tim at Marduk and Ancephalosis are in the pits right now with black and orange mechanical flags, but Kamikaze now in control of this race, and even more critically than that, they are still keeping Blueberry at bay. And Blueberry's done a really good job here in third position, just to keep these top two honest at 6 seconds back. And it really gives you a sense of what the Creator Series is all about. Because it's not just about it's your face, it's your name. You can be anyone, and there's a huge VTubing community that continues to grow and grow and grow out there at the moment. And Blueberry is looking to try and build the racers VTuber community.
Yeah, indeed. I find it a fascinating community to be part of sometimes and to observe, because not everybody has the confidence to be on camera, to express themselves as they want to. And it's a lovely dynamic to have people that may be less confident or just want to express themselves in a different way to get involved. And I think the majority, if not all of us, will always support that. And it's lovely to see. And definitely they've got the pedal to the metal, they've got their foot down, and at the moment on the previous lap they were faster than the top two, so this might get spicy with a three-way for the lead, as they say.
Speaking of spice, Aerotech and Strasner right now half a minute off of the race lead here on lap 18 now, soon to go to lap 19 here of 60. But Strasner trying to hunt down, and Aerotech has had, I would say, a pretty wild start to the race for Keenan Standard out there. It's been very much a case of it's been sliding around and it's been unable to keep the car pointed on the straight and narrow. No surprises from the Drift King.
Yeah, for the moment, he's just absolutely even more pedal to the metal
pit
than the
stops.
top 3. And we do have a few pit stops. I saw Tim Marduk also a pit to last lap with encephalosis also. So that's a little bit of a concern for our drivers at the moment because it's lap 19 of 60. So by my calculations, and I am quite bad at maths, they will have to do maybe a 3-stop, which is not ideal. So they'll have to be doing a little bit of lifting and coasting, as we can see our drivers in the pit lane there, and Alex Gillen and Chesnoid Gaming in the pits. So yeah, anybody pitting right now, they've got to really be careful, and Kamikaze in the pit lane as well.
Followed in by Blueberry to the pit. Supreme will jump in with Punju. Then as well, Brendan Hyperstar and Sparks hit late. So Aidan Pole able to go to a 20th lap out there on this initial run. That is actually going to be a very interesting play because that really does open up the 2-stop compared to a 3-stop, which drivers don't want the splash and dash for. So I would say this is a critical moment of the race where if you're able to save fuel and work your way in behind some other drivers, you are going to get yourself everything you want and then some with the 50% fuel tank. Strasner and the likes of Riff Blondie still out there, but in comes Aidan Pole and critically stuck on pit entry behind El Zindriani. That's going to cost some time.
Yeah, Zindrani very squarely onto the pit road, as we call it. But yeah, very, very tricky entry, and we've seen quite a few accidents there. In fact, one of the most famous ones on YouTube is the incident with Joseph Newgarden just having a collision and going all the way into pit road. Thankfully, nobody hurt in that one, but yeah, it's a very high-speed entry, and you have to time it correctly. So this will be interesting for Aidan Pole. So he lost a little bit of time there on the entry, but will he be able to come back out in time to benefit from the slipstream of Kamikaze, who's looking like he had a very good outlap here, and he's gone. Yeah, you can see.
Look at that gap. It is sizable now. 2 seconds over at this point for Aidan Pole. So a lot more work to be done. Blueberry will try and hunt and give chase too. And that brings you such a great influence of where they go. We take a look on board with Blueberry at the moment and looking around through the right-hander and seeing that in the distance, a small speck, but an important one, 2.6 seconds, the margin.
That last lap from Kamikaze of 57.05 equaled his qualifying lap. That is insane pace, and he is just showing his intent to want to get away from Aidan Pole and maintain that gap, 2.6 seconds. And that's going to be really difficult to close down. It will now all be about race pace. It will all be about how much you can push, because obviously Aidan Pole can push for one entire lap more if he's got the margin on fuel, and Kamikaze has that doubt now, but that he has to maybe lift a little bit. The temptation will be there now for Kamikaze to keep pushing, and what Aidan Pole can do is just put pressure on, close in a tenth a lap, and eventually the pressure will get to the driver in front at least a little bit. But all of these drivers very experienced, so I don't expect it to be an easy job for all of them to force an opponent into a mistake.
You've got to give credit here for this circuit and the way it's run. This is an FIA Grade 3 circuit, which means it hosts on the national stage and not the international stage. But what is critical about this track is that almost every place has a large amount of runoff of grass, which means you can keep yourself out of trouble if you do go off, especially in the slower category of cars like we have here with these FF1600s. That's slow up the hill from Joshimus, who's trying to let these cars through to put the lap on Josh at this stage and manage that. So that's Punju and Supreme who find a way through. Brendan Hyperstar would love to fly on by as well and stay with this group. This is very much a case of picking up a car here, a car there. This is effectively your checks and balances of the race, the meat and potatoes, the middle of the race where you build your race up.
Well, that's a sentence and a half. I'll give you that one, Jake. As all kinds of just over the limit for Punju there, just locking the brakes, getting oversteer and then getting understeer to add insult to injury. He's managed to maintain the position. I don't exactly know how, but Brendan Hyperstar will have just been sat there thinking, thank you ever so much, that'll be a position for me. Although I think that might be Sparks behind him and the timing might not have updated for now. as I recognise the liveries right there. But yeah, Supreme also very slow off of the chicane. So we're seeing an interesting dynamic here where every driver is mastering the corners at a different rate, especially in the drying conditions. And this might lead to some funny situations as Zindriani gets past Matt 212, who's in the pits. So Matt's going very, very late into the pits, lap 24.
Yeah, so there's all that's going on at the moment as late as you go with Matt 212 in the pits. May have had to take the fast pit early, hence the longer run to get into the pits. But Aerotech now through on Adam Sanderson, and Adam's trying to get on the radio loud and noisy out there at this stage in time, trying to get to Alex Gillen as quickly as possible. That gap, 3.3 over the line, so Aerotech 58.2 to Alex Gillen's 57 flat is not going to cut the mustard in terms of chasing that gap down. This is very much a case of work hard, find yourself with opportunities to go and make the places, and I would say, at least at this moment in time, it's a tough race that we've got. Killer Cleo, by the way, is down in the lane, and they're of her own accord, so this is a scheduled stop for Cleo.
Yeah, that's a very late stop as well. So I think some drivers just calculating the strategy might be a little bit better with just a splash and dash at the end. As Punju, I think, has just got mugged into turn 1.
By a lap car.
Yeah, by a lapped car as well. So very difficult to look at your mirrors all the time. Punju looking to find a way past, but crucially, that puts him off of the back a little bit of Supreme TV, who looks to be struggling, to be honest, at the front of that pack. Maybe just coming a little bit to the pressure.
Well, safety car's going to be deployed here, so it looks like there's been either A, trouble on track, or B, it's about wide enough where we say we've had enough of seeing this be a ball fest. Let's get a caution out. I think it's an incident out there, and we'll take a look, because there's the spin of number 28 out there of Chesnoy Gaming, trying to get back up to speed. And I think if have a sniff of something like that, John, that is the sniff of what you need, and it's a case of get everybody in here in terms of where they need to be. I think this is a case of who's going to have the right call on strategy to get a cheap pit stop out the way and get a few laps extra in fuel.
Yeah, I think we'll see most drivers coming in there. That's got to be the least biased steward's decision that I've ever seen right there. But yeah, as we can see, Punju in, Strassner, I think, in the pits as well, Supreme in also. So yeah, I think our leaders have actually stayed out for the moment. So definitely, I think of coming into the pits just to make sure if you're marginal on fuel, it might be a good decision. But then again, if you're thinking about it, I think the top 3 are on a 2-stop anyway, so they can just extend this stint and pit because it's too early to come into the pits right now to change your strategy. You wanted it to be around lap 35. At that point, you can come into the pits, as we can see our unsafety car unsafely waiting at the side of the road for the unsafe race leader at the moment.
Well, at the moment, the unsafety car will wait for Kamikaze, who is running through the right-hander, and the unsafety car works its way now on to the uphill. And look who's driving the unsafety car, ladies and gentlemen. It is TK. It's what they call him out there at this point. And there have been a lot of names for what TK stands for, but for the moment, TK up the hill now has caught control of the lead, and it's Kamikaze then from Aidan Pole from Blueberry, and the case of who will now find 4th position. It's a little wait to Sparks.
Did you see the amount of concentration on his face there? Just looking in the mirrors, waiting to collect Kamikaze. Hopefully not literally, as they say. But yeah, TK doing the God's work, as they say out there. The man, the myth, the legend. And hopefully, well, I think he'll be praying and thanking the racing gods that there is no rain, as that car does not have wet weather tires, so we were looking at a little bit of a shenanigans if that was going to be a wet race, but it looks like all of the puddles have kind of dried out now. That's also one of the things, is that this might overlap with the track going completely dry, so again we'll have a change of dynamic, a change of grip into turn 1, and this might get very interesting, as I think the leaders go around for another lap then without pitting, so they've kind of selected this strategy now. They've committed, exactly. They're locked in now with this strategy.
So here's what happens. It's a case of, do I pit and put a tiny bit more fuel in so I have less at the stop, Or am I still going to commit to a two-stop strategy here, John? But the safety car, or the unsafety car in this sense, is going to open the fuel window for us to get there.
Well, if you look at what, for example, I think Matt212 did or Killer Cleo did, they pitted on lap 24, if I'm correct. So you'd need it to be around lap 35, lap 36 to fully fill up with fuel and then pit and be safe to the race end. So it's a little bit too early for that, and I think what they will do is literally just keep on their strategy. They might be able to go to maybe, I think, lap 44 now at this point, with a couple of laps of just coasting behind the safety car, and then they'll have to pit for their last race stint, which should be easy on fuel. And then it's a case of, do I take less fuel so that I'm faster initially, but I have to lift and coast a little bit toward the end. So this is an interesting dynamic now.
So now it's about, what can you find? Where are you going to get this second half of the race to work in your favour? And when the field bunches back up together again like it does, it now offers opportunities. The gaps that we saw for Blueberry, for example, puts through, as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, that's the stint number that they're on. So that's how many laps they've done on their recent stints. And Brendan Hyperstar, for example, who's coming to the pit on 0 in terms of lap stint. You look up at Alex Gillen and Adam Sanderson, they're the longest on 10, and Adam Sanderson's just pointed out over the radio, John, oh, am I not going to make it all the way home?
Yeah, you kind of want to keep fuel in your car. That's the basics of a race car. Thankfully, the last turn, as you see, you can see they're getting overtaken. Thankfully, the last turn is downhill. It is quite literally named like that. But I think they're also carrying on, so that's an interesting one. Yeah, some interesting stuff. Maybe a delayed radio message, we never know. But I'm interested in Brendan Hyperstar and Grant Coupert, who are on their third stint, apparently. So that's, yeah, not exactly sure what's going on there. I didn't notice them taking on absurd amounts of fuel at any point, so perhaps they've just decided to make another additional pit stop to fill up with the most amount of fuel possible. So Matt212 is thinking of saying to Killer Cleo, hey, we need to get on here, we need to get an overtake done, and we need to just catch the safety car again, as we're a lap down.
There's always something to see when you've got a silver play button up on your wall. Is the crowning achievement of your streaming setup there, John.
Yeah, that's literally flexing in our community right there, and I don't blame him, to be fair. You know, it's something to be very, very proud of, and you know, it just speaks volumes actually to the enjoyment that people can get from driving, but also from watching other people drive and the narrative that is built around it. So, you know, I will take the time to say it's also why I got into commentating in the first place, is that I loved just the aspect of being part of a bigger community, and I think a lot of drivers and indeed content creators thrive for that specific reason.
Yeah, so Els Indriani and Cephalosis, and I believe Killer Cleo, I think, is going to be stuck at 1 lap down. That will be pretty much everybody who has got around and got themselves back into position. So Kamikaze in control with Aiden Pole in second, Blueberry third, it's then Sparks, Alex Gillen and Aerotech making your top 6. But the difference now, fully dry track.
Yes, indeed, and I've just noticed Grant Coupert also has been is 2 laps down, so I think he pitted again and ironically got caught behind the safety car because of that. So that is very unfortunate, as we see Josh Schumer's with that virtual reality tech there with the stairs that are always ever so ominous behind him as well. So yeah, I think they're just pushing to catch the safety car now, which it looks like they might do by the end of this lap. And they're taking some very aggressive lines, I think, trying to warm up the tyres at this stage. But yeah, it's all about testing those limits now. And going on the grass might not be the best way of doing it. Maybe with the Rallycross car last week, but definitely not right now.
No, especially when they got an instant count of 40, and if they hit that, it's a drive-through penalty that will be assigned to them. So as they look to try and put themselves in line and get themselves ready, I think we've got 1 more lap behind the unsafety car before we're ready. And I am noticing with our unsafety car as they're going about, Kamikaze has left a pretty sizable gap out there. They're only running 15 seconds a lap slower than what they would do at normal racing pace. So they don't have that much time to actually save fuel.
Yeah, definitely. Also, message to race control. He left a gap more than 10 car lengths, so that's definitely a penalty. Not calling out that we need to nerf Kamikaze whatsoever right here from the commentary box at all. But yeah, he's definitely not making it easy for everybody else, is he? You know, leading the championship, currently leading the race on the same strategy as Aiden Pole behind him, and indeed Blueberry behind as well. So yeah, it looks like now with the pace car slowing down, we might get racing this lap, as they say. So yeah, this is going to be an almighty restart. Where do you decide to go? I mean, who knows? The toe is so powerful down to turn 1. I think you want to leave it as late as possible.
I think you do, and you've got to try and get the jump. It's about how clever. If you can make the West Bend work, you can have an almighty launch down the hill and get yourself going. The one thing you can't do is you can't start and stop and start and stop. You have to go once and once only, and now deciding to go down the hill on this run, that's a brilliant restart by Kamikaze. Will be back underway, lap 33. Here of 60, Aiden Pole in second, Blueberry in third, a huge gap back to Alex Gillen here, and Aerotech fifth and sixth, and a bit of side-by-side as here comes the likes of Love 46 and also Joshimas to the inside of Chesnoy Gaming.
Yeah, what a brilliant move. They've got it done easily. Will the switchback happen? No, not quite. So that's a very clean one. As all chaos is unfolding in front of them, though, as I think that's Matt212 just trying to get past. And yeah, this might be like a potential for a big incident here, as always on restarts. You just want to judge what driver's pace is like around you, and you don't want to get involved too much, as Matt212 just trying to survive, I think, at the moment. As in front of him, T. Jordan, Riff Blondie are looking like they want to fight for that position. Riff Blondie having a bit of a slow restart here, so literally being cork in the bottle. Up the inside goes Matt212. That could have been a very big collision, as both of them take to the grass a little bit, and that means the Joshimas can go all the way to the inside. You might get the jump on both of them. 3 wide, technically I'll call it 3 wide. Close enough. As contact as well. Matt212 breaks too late, collides with Joshimas. They're all 3 still on the track somehow. I don't exactly believe how that's happened, but it has indeed.
How has Matt pushed to pass his way through and got that position? He gives it back at the left-hander, but will he immediately come back at the right-hander? Answer to that is no. So he gets by T. George and makes that work. Train continuing on. It's 4 clear at the front, and then everybody else in the secondary train at the moment, as Adam Sanderson under pressure from Strasner as well. There is Alex Gillen in 5th place. Now as Aerotech tries to hunt this down, and remember round 2 where Aerotech tried every which way to get by Alex Gillen and couldn't make it happen. They are all on the grass pushing the track limit. Sparks there going miles wide.
I can't quite believe it. They're all trying to, as Brendan Hyperstar gets up the inside of Punju there, maybe going to the outside of Supreme here, just leaves it a little bit late on the brake. Oh, up the inside. Oh, that's a hell of a move, but they've not managed to make it stick. And that is Love 46 and Strasner getting caught up in that one as well. It was so close to an amazing move, but they just locked it on the brakes, and it was just a meter too late. Unfortunate stuff.
Yeah, Love 46, she tried everything she could on the brakes. It didn't quite work, maybe locked up there as they went through. And as such, that's how difficult it goes. Aerotech now seeing the early move from Alex Gillen, thinking about the outside, and decides that it's better right now to just hold the station and say, what more can I do to keep myself in play? Top 2 are keeping themselves very much to themselves at the moment, and everybody on radio is now starting to realise, right, we've really got to go. Alex Gillen here, caught the bottle. Aerotech is thinking, right, if I get this move done, what more do I need to do to jump myself back up to the likes of Sparks, Aiden Pole and Kamikaze, who is, well, Aerotech is basically fighting the championship for.
Yeah, this is a brilliant demonstration of the different driving styles that you need to take, with Alex Gillen going very deep on the apex, braking very late, carrying the speed so you can't get the initial dive up the inside. And for Aerotech behind, it's a case of getting on the brakes earlier and then carrying the better racing line to hopefully get a better exit. And you can see the speed that Aerotech is able to carry is just all the way on the gearbox at the moment of Alex Gillen, and Alex is having to compromise his lines a lot. very, very difficult this last turn, which is basically flat out if you get it right. But if you get it wrong, you can go onto the grass and into that wall. And I'd say, Jake, this is probably one of the most difficult combinations as Punju down the order there.
Well, Punju with an issue. Gillen lets the place go, and Punju into the pit. So whatever's happened here with Punju, the black and orange mechanical flag is out, and the answer is final corner. Look at that, into the wall on entry, and then mowing the grass as it goes through. And as we know, John, it's never good when you try and mow wet grass.
Yeah, even worse when you try and do it with an open wheeler. It doesn't have the floor space to mow like a GT3 car, as we can see. Oh yeah, just hopping over the curb now on the grass, no traction. The bump of the end of the curb catches him out, and now it's just a case of turning that wheel. He can't do anything about it, into the wall again with more damage, but back out on track.
Look at that race lead. Aiden Pohl is going to now move for the race lead and go to the inside of Kamikaze and takes the place away. And that is allowing more once more off the exit. Look at this. Kamikaze fighting back, trying to go over under. Will have to go the long way around the left-hander to make it work. It doesn't. And now Blueberry is into the mix. So 1, 2, and 3 are clear. Sparks has been dropped from the front group, but now Blueberry, I think, is trying to pick up the scraps. And what a way it would be if you could win on debut, as the drivers 1 and 2 right now continue their scrap. Kamikaze, great drive up the hill to West Bend, trying around the outside, doesn't work.
I think Kamikaze tactically they're lifted there just to make sure he could get the better drive out of the corner if he can keep this one going. But here comes Blueberry as well. They might be able to get the drive. Kamikaze all the way to the inside now. He's going to have the entry for this corner. He might get the move done even before, but here comes Blueberry. 3 wide, technically not quite. Blueberry backs out of it and just lets the front 2 fight it out, just hoping to pick up the pieces. But this is getting all terribly technical now, as you've got not a lot of margin for error and everything. As Aiden Pohl clips the back of Kamikaze there, goes super wide, is lucky to save it. Blueberry just giving him a little bit of space and making sure they don't collect each other. But I will ask you this, Jake. Is there any better combo for this track? Because you've commentated many races here. Have you seen anything of the likes of this?
Well, the only thing I've seen is the likes of Multiclass that's gone through. Riff Blondie, by the way, has had a massive tank slapper, and she's got the side of Ancephalos, who's got a couple places for it, but not really. There's not much that does better than this. There's always love for open foiling, but I love old school Multiclass here. Blueberry now picks up the run, looking for second place, and is this going to be enough then? To the outside tries Blueberry and doesn't quite manage it. So it's going to be another waiting game for the 41, and you can't push too wide too often as Adam Sanderson comes in on lap 40 for the final stop, because you know you're just going to open it up. I think this is going to come down to who's most aggressive at the final stop.
Indeed, yeah, it could be a case of literally taking 1 lap short and just lifting and coasting. But then again, with the top speed around here and that last little bit toward turn 1 where you can keep it flat and get the overtake done, it may be crucial to have enough fuel in the car. It all depends, and for that reason, Aiden Pohl has a little bit of an advantage here as long as he can keep close to Kamikaze, because he has 1 lap extra fuel from that later pit stop.
John, Adam Sanderson left his tyres ticked.
That's very unfortunate indeed. That's going to be a very long pit stop.
It was. And Adam Sanderson has left the pits with a brand new set of tyres and now a lap down.
And the worst part about that is they're completely cold as well, so you have to warm them up. And you can see the car slipping and sliding around turn 1 and turn 2 there. That has not gone well, as they say.
That is what we call optimal. So that is definitely not what was needed. Sparks in the pits, Alex Gillen in the pits, so Sparks might set the chain reaction off the leading trio at the moment. Tiamat Marduk now up into the top 10 because of that. T George now up to 9th, your biggest mover, plus 12 for today's racing action, with just 1/3 of the race remaining, and it becomes a case of who wants to jump. Aiden Pohl miles over the left-hand side in the puddle as they go through, goes Kamikaze, and into the pit. So Kamikaze makes a great jump then to make that call. And then Aiden Paul has to defend into the opening corner because Blueberry had a chance to make that move. The last thing you want to do is fight when leader's in.
I mean, Aiden Pole's lucky to still be in the fight for the lead of this race. That was so close to being a disaster at the last turn. As T. George just getting ahead of Kamikaze, who's in the pit lane. Still, Aerotech pits as well, so dropping positions. Will Kamikaze come out in clean air? That's another question as well, which might hamper his race pace, as it looks like Aiden Pole just focusing a little bit too much on defending, and Blueberry is looking like they want a way past immediately. Will we see any of them drop into the pit lane now, or will they try and extend this stint to put less fuel in the car? Kamikaze comes out behind Joshima's, so he's got a couple of seconds actually, as Blueberry in the pits. Yes, indeed, confirmed in the pits for Blueberry. So Aiden Pole continues on another lap, and this might mean that Kamikaze will catch Joshima's maybe, and not encephalosis, sorry, but there might be some traffic to get around.
Yeah, and that traffic, I think, is going to play a very important game at this stage. So what can you do in order to find position and placement and make this race work? So with Blueberry into the pits, the world's fastest doggo decides that it's time to work it out. Aiden Pole out there alone. There is the ever-looming presence of green, which strikes fear into the hearts of everyone. Kamikaze, it's close on the exit, but Kamikaze will sweep on by.
Oh, what commitment, what trust between the drivers as well. You have to be confident the other driver will make it to the apex to even go round the outside, and that is what you call class action right there, as Kamikaze takes what is provisionally the net race lead. I'd guess Aiden Pole in the pits there, as you can see on the timing screen. So this is crucial now. Nobody's hold him up on pit entry. Stops neatly at the pit box. But how long will the stop be? Will it be short fueled? Will it be the normal amount? Let's look at that pit stop time. So 9 seconds, 10 seconds stationary and still counting, as I think Kamikaze will be looming around the last turn right now. As you can see, it's going to be very, very close, as they are still stationary. It says now they leave the pit box, and it's going to be very close on exit. Aiden Pole has got the jump, indeed.
Yeah, but watch the run now, because Kamikaze will try and work an angle to the outside. A critical jump by overcutting out there with the stop that was needed. Less fuel required for Aiden Pole, and now has the race lead overall, with Kamikaze second and Blueberry net third as they go. They've got Joshima's in front, Encephalosis, Tiamat Marduk, T. George, and then Supreme, your leader. So that's all of what's got to try and make it work. We all expect them to come in, but the net race right now is starting to get busy, and for the moment, Aiden Pole would love a way by Joshima's as quick as possible, but remember, that would be for position. Look at the run that Kamikaze gets, following like Aiden Pole's shadow at the moment. And will there be a defensive move? There is, heading towards turn number one. A huge move to the inside. It's covered, a slide in the puddle, and now Kamikaze looks to get straight back through the second part of Big Ben to get it sorted to the outside of the left-hander. Can't get it done.
What a great interpretation of that by Kamikaze. He saw that Aiden Pole wasn't going to make the apex on the corner, backed out of it and got the undercut, but unfortunately didn't manage to make it work. They're catching back marker right now.
That's close!
No, that is Joshima's, isn't it? They've caught Joshima's very close there, but there was nowhere to go. They had to back out of it, and they nearly collected each other in their anticipation to get through. Just want to point out, while they go down now into downhill bend, the last bend on the corner, that all three of them took the same amount of pit stop time. So we have a 19.7 and 19.8, and for Blueberry, as Aiden Pole off the track once again, Joshima's pits as well to get out of the way. So they're all equal on fuel in theory.
Look at the run, and Kamikaze will go to the outside. Aiden Pole is desperate defending. They tangle tyres. Blueberry to the inside. The world's fastest dog goes up to P2.
Incredible stuff. Unfortunate for Kamikaze. Just tagged once again. He didn't expect Aiden Paul to make the same mistake twice, but lightning does in fact strike twice in certain occasions. Kamikaze retakes P2 there with just a bit more confidence in the right-hander, and definitely left-hander as well before it, just setting up the move. Kamikaze a couple of car lengths back now, so he'll have to work to gain that time back. Slipstream still should be fine, but they'll have to defend as well.
Supreme into the pit. Brendan Hyperstar, your leader. T. George in second. Tiamat Marduk third. Ancephalosis now to fourth. Aiden Pohl should re-inherit the top 5 out there at this stage. Lap 47 of 60. There are desperate attempts to shake some draft, but for the moment, Tiamat Marduk on the back of the lap down Elza Indriani right now. This would be a wonderful bit of driving for Tiamat Marduk, who has had no love with this series so far.
I think also looking at these stints, Punju is going to be in a very tricky situation at the end of the race, because it might be short on fuel, which is a disaster thing as Strasser gets past Matt 212. I think this is an overtake. Tiamat Marduk up the inside on, is that Ancephalosis? Oh, am I looking at? It's Elzindriani, sorry. They're literally just fighting to just get some time back after earlier mistakes. And here we have Adam Sanderson as well. No, that's Aerotech, sorry. The livery's very similar. I couldn't spot the car numbers from the commentary box here. Aerotech and Alex Gillen still battling after all of these laps.
Yeah, but it's roles reversal now. 9th and 10th as Tiamat Marduk hits the lane and makes that pit stop, but Aerotech holds off Alex Gillen for the moment, closing in more on Aiden Pohl as they go. Ancephalosis there, remember 28 seconds is the margin. Brendan Hyperstar, who has been, I would say, a sleeper agent for this championship. Remember, the oval rounds are going to be where Brendan Hyperstar comes alive at Vegas and at Indy, so that's going to be huge.
I'm not sure if you can hear me right now. I have gone completely blank on my footage. I think my internet is having a nightmare, Jake, so if you could carry on for the minute, I'm trying to get my footage back.
Well, at least for the moment, this is going to be where you have Brendan Hyperstar in position. T. George has to depart now with 11 laps to go. Ancephalosis will also follow. Aiden Pohl right over to the side of the circuit where there's still puddles out there and trying to do everything to shake off. Only Brendan Hyperstar has not made a pit stop in front, and these three continue on with just 12 laps of racing remaining. Aiden Pohl is doing everything to try and shake, but remember, Kamikaze here in this position, John, is doing everything possible right now to try and chase this down. The passive character in all of this has been Blueberry.
Yeah, indeed. I think they're just playing it very intelligently. We've seen at least 2 situations now where Aiden Pohl and Kamikaze have nearly come into contact, or indeed have made contact. So I think Blueberry, after that earlier scare, I think about 7 laps ago, where they went, tried to go down inside as, Brendan Hyperstar pits. And that means that they have a clear track in front of them, at least in terms of the timing board. But they're going to have to play it tactical. I think Aiden Pohl going to the inside now to maybe also cut the slipstream to Kamikaze so that Blueberry can attack. Will we see an attack just making sure that Kamikaze knows that they're in their mirrors? But Kamikaze going very defensively on their racing line as well.
And where Brendan Hyperstar's come out is just behind Aerotech, just in front of Alex Gillen. Supreme is in that group as well. Sparks in no man's land in 4th position at 1.8 seconds back off the lead. They've got Killer Cleo as lap champion in front, and Aiden Pohl is looking to try and leapfrog away. When they cross the line, they will have 10 laps to go here at Lime Rock Park, knowing the Ferrari challenge is what is going to connect on. Killer Cleo out of the way of 1, of 2, of 3, and managing that.
Yeah, Killer Cleo, I think just trying to not hamper the top 3. I'm sure they're spotters, as that's Kamikaze on the grass, so doing an Aiden Pohl there, and lucky to get away with it as well. Aiden Pohl going to the inside every single time. I don't think that's something to do with the tyres, but it does look like they're struggling for grip every single turn 1. So is it a case that the tyre temperatures are becoming a little bit uncomfortable as we approach the last 10 laps of this race?
Well, with the last 10 laps that are now starting to bring themselves up and say, you know what, we're right here, we're doing everything we can to find the opportunity to make this work. I would say that as they are pushing with what they can, what they need to, when they need to, we are now in an absolutely wonderful position to say that we are on what I would have to say some of the best finishes that we've got in this series. Aiden Pohl is pushing with everything, and every group right now something to go for. Aerotech now having to really defend here with Brendan Hyperstar and Alex Gillen there. Supreme has fallen off the back of this one. Brendan gets a great run.
Yeah, this might be an overtake right now, though. They go defensive, though, so Aerotech seeing a little bit better as Killer Cleo spins off there, struggling with probably some issue right there. Very bizarre incident for them, as, yeah, Aerotech just being the cork in the bottle, but I think they're just trying to get a little bit of a gap. The lines are a lot neater for Aerotech, but like with everything with this car, you've got to carry the momentum, and I think Brendan Hyperstar, although it might look a little bit on the ragged edge, they can just carry the speed. And it waits to be seen who has kept better care of their tyres, for example, and indeed who has the fuel, because some of these drivers will be very marginal on fuel come the end of the race.
This is an aggro car. Drivers will be looking to burn as much tyre as possible. Kamikaze again pushes wide off the exit. Doesn't invite to follow the slipstream. That's late in terms of a move. Blueberry very nearly into the back of Kamikaze. That is as late a move can be to defend. And Aiden Pohl! Oh, it's going to go off wide. Kamikaze straight down the inside. Oh, a gift! An absolute gift. Aiden's not giving this one up though on the inside. Tangles with the front tyre, holding the slide through the middle of the corner. Kamikaze leads!
Oi, 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 what? And Aiden Pohl nearly losing it on the exit as well. Down Paul Newman straight. You don't expect an accident there, but it nearly happened. Aiden Pohl has made that mistake 2 or 3 times. This time it really caught him out. He's lucky to have not been spun around. Blueberry up the inside, indeed. And this might push it to a 3 wide. Aiden Pohl has lost 2 positions. Oh, Blueberry forced to back out of that one. They'll have to go single file down the last corner. Kamikaze, paradoxically, has managed to get a bit of a run here to eke out a little bit of a lead, but it won't matter as they get the huge slipstream. Now, can Blueberry get the overtake on a not-so-confident Aiden Pohl now? Aiden Pohl goes defensive. Will he get the braking right? Yes, he does this lap. Very neatly done. And now Kamikaze just has to keep this race lead and hope that nobody has better pace than him, like in the first couple of laps of the race.
Championship leaders find themselves with great opportunities to prove their worth. You create your own luck in series like these, and he got an absolute gift, a Christmas gift from Aiden Pohl, but it's not done. They'll have 6 to go when they next cross the line, and Aiden is rampaging back up towards Kamikaze. I would say with angry mode engaged. They've got Els Indriani in front as lap traffic. Chesnoy Gaming will be there as well. And I think Blueberry is hoping for the prime scenario of these two tangling together after a very tough race. Big power move to the inside. Oh, in the grass, trying to find a way through. They tag against each other through the puddles. This is a big attempt here from Aiden Pohl, and it takes the race lead back away. That is huge commitment.
What 1980s style racing as Kamikaze tries to get the switchback. I think Kamikaze was expecting, no, surely nobody will put 2 wheels on the grass. But along comes Aiden Pohl, says, hello mate, there's a half a car width on the inside. I'm going to take that. And not only that, but he manages to make the apex. Kamikaze around the outside though. He brakes later, there's back markers, all that Chesnoy's around, I think. And yeah, he just gets out of the way beautifully with that move, but unfortunately it hasn't worked out for him as they've still got traffic into the last 2 turns. Looks like they can keep it flat though. And also for Aiden Pohl, he'll get a huge slipstream down the straight as well. But that was just a huge move from Aiden Pohl. Courageous to make that happen on such an important occasion.
And as that's all been going on, Sparks has been dropping time and has fallen back into the second group and has just lost the place to Alex Gillen and will do so again here to Supreme. So back of the group there as Supreme makes the move on Alex Gillen, dives to the inside, Toofer in towards Big Ben and gets that done. So Aerotech in 4th and Brendan Hyperstar now in 5th, and critically, Blueberry got stuck behind Els Indriani. So Blueberry, wrong side of Lady Luck. Now it looks like it's 2 for the win.
Oh, so unfortunate. It can happen so easily. But the good news is they're all in a slipstream still. So it is very, very possible to keep going, keep getting, maybe take them a couple of laps. It won't leave them with much to play for. But it's still possible. They have to get past now, though. And El Zingiani lifting through the final corner. I think that might be nail in the coffin as Aiden Paul goes over that slightly wet patch once again to maybe cool off the tyres or something like that. They've been doing that consistently. I think that overtake might have happened, to be fair. Also, just based on a default strategy of trying to go to the inside there, and they just managed to make this wonderful move stick. But so far, Kamikaze doesn't look like he's got the pace to challenge for the moment, as Brendan Hyperstar under pressure here from Supreme, as well as Aerotech looks to try and get away. Sneaky there, just trying to take a little bit of a gap as Supreme. Look at that exit. Surely they're going to shape up a move. Brendan Hyperstar goes to the inside, says not any chance of doing that, buddy. You're going to have to wait. And they will have to wait probably until turn 1 now, as most drivers are not making too many mistakes apart from the braking zones anymore. As off in the background, we see some blue smoke there.
Yeah, it's Sparks, and Sparks, who is up there in the championship, has spin all of his own accord. He's hit every single one of the anti-cut curbs, and that's why he's now down into 9th position. And looking at Strasner, who wants to even take that away. Tough for Sparks, who's driven well. And Kamikaze's gone slightly off the road, and now will drop the time. Aiden Pole has a 2.5 with 3 to go. Blueberry's got a shot of trying to beat the championship leader on debut.
Oh, this is disastrous for Kamikaze in terms of fuel as well. If he's short on fuel, he's 2 laps shorter on fuel than Aiden Pole and 1 lap shorter than Blueberry on fuel. So he's got nothing to defend with, potentially. Might be having to lift and coast, but going off track will not help with that at all. And just as we were about to say that it's over for Blueberry, here they are again, just going for it. And a top 2 finish would be great on debut, wouldn't it? Well, podium finish would be excellent, to be fair.
It would be brilliant, but there's more to it. Runs slightly wide, but this is where Blueberry's got to try and make progress and make it work. It's now all about what Kamikaze can do to defend. Covers the inside line. We take a look here from Blueberry's perspective. Hi, Mom, we're on camera, and now with 2 laps to go, figuring out which way to try and get these passes done. Love 46 with a splash and dash, but for the moment, how do you set up the run out the right-hander?
Look how smooth they were on the wheel, just barely a twitch in the steering, barely a hint of oversteer, and Kamikaze's steering's wildly different with more aggressive. Look how aggressive he is into the chicane, gets that extra initial bite, but Blueberry with a huge exit right there, just being a little smoother, and I think Kamikaze just pushing over the edge a little bit. That 101% that I talked about earlier has maybe caught him out. He'll be very vulnerable now on the start-finish straight. Over the grass a little bit for both of them, but the move will happen probably.
1 lap left. Aiden Pole was desperate on the radio. Grand Pooh Bear, please move over. I need space out there. And as they go, it's going to be a case of place defended as they run in through the opening corners then. It's on for 2nd and 3rd. It's on for 4th and 5th between Aerotech and Supreme as well. But for the moment, it's Kamikaze who's having to defend right now. Blueberry has been searching and searching and searching, and I don't think she's got anything left in order to try and find this pass. It's half defended to the middle of the road at the braking zone here. Kamikaze, catches it wrong. Once, twice over the bumps, but Blueberry was too close to make anything of it heading to that west bend. The gap elongating. Surely the most potential in the series at the front of this field has had to wait and wait and wait for opportunity. Aiden Pole will now move to title contention. A win at Lime Rock Park.
What an amazing thing, and they were so close as well. Kamikaze just ahead of Blueberry, I think, at the finish, although it seems on my team on the screen there that they've made a pass for it, so I'm not quite sure. I think Blueberry might have just pipped him to the post.
Oh, and Blueberry steals it out of the final corner and takes 2nd. Blueberry there. Kamikaze was up in speed. The car choked heading over the line, only just by 150 meters it was out of fuel, and it cost Kamikaze a critical place. Still some side-by-side as we head towards the end of racing action here, down through the final corners, Punju clear of Encephalosis and Riff Blondie, and that's the way they'll run to the line as they go. There's a reason why we love great racing here with the Creator Series, and even when you get the slowest cars on what is a bullring of a track like Lime Rock Park, you get spectacles of amazing sim racing in action. Let's talk this heading to the line. Blueberry then, it's just a choke on fuel.
Oh yeah, he had to lift off. Look at that. I did say it might be a factor, and across the line there, that would have been so satisfying for Blueberry, and Kamikaze would have just been there thinking, I cannot believe it. That one mistake. Mistake, let's have a look. I think this is the mistake that happened just off of our cameras. This is what cost the fuel. This is exactly, if we get a replay of it, what made sure that he had 10 meters less fuel than he needed. Let's have a look then, braking very late. You can see the steering there just getting a little bit wrong, heading to the grass, and there's not much you can do then. Very lucky to have grip out there, to be honest, and managing to maintain it, but that's what gave him just that little bit where he couldn't make it stick.
A lot of drag races then to finish off this racing, but what an amazing result this would be for Aiden Pole. Picking it up, winning by 2 seconds over Blueberry, with Kamikaze rounding out your podium in 3rd place. It would be Aerotech who would be in position number 4, and your top 5 would be rounded out by Supreme TV. They're making things work. Brendan Hyperstar would be in 6th, with Alex Gill in 7th. 8th would belong to Strasner, with Sparks in 9th, and Matt 212 rounding out the top 10. You've got then T. George for 11th position, with Love 46 in 12th. Tiamat Marduk and Joshima's 13th and 14th. And then you've got, in case of this, Punju, Encephalosis, and Riff Blondie, the only cars on the leading lap. Adam Sanderson is 18th, with El Zindriani 19th, and Chesnoy Gaming rounding out your top 20 as they go. Retirees or laps down behind that: Killer Cleo, Grand Pooh Bear, and Scotty Designs, by the way, behind even the unsafety car, John.
That's not a title that you want for sure, but I mean, that race had everything, didn't it? We had the constant nail-biting from start to finish between the top 3, massive overtakes in the midfield, and I must say that overtake by Aiden Pole was just aura farming at that point.
Yeah, it was a pure aura farm move, and what a way to introduce yourself to some amazing racing out there. We've got a chance to talk to some drivers now who have got themselves the results, and no better place to start than with Aiden Pole. Aiden, I will just finish this, or start this off with one word: finally.
Thank you. I love you. And yeah, it feels good. It feels good. I was just happy to finally get to race Kamikaze.
It is as simple as you got the chance to race for a full race, to give it absolutely everything you got, and the way you had to try and make that move, that pass with 2 tires into the water, 2 tires on the grass. How much level of commitment did you need to get that move done?
I was 100% going to die there. I thought I was going to die, and I was okay with that. That's been my attitude forever in this thing.
We've noticed that you had to be on the limit all the time, and you were definitely pushing all of the top 3 was pushing the limits. How difficult was it, and how satisfying was it to drive over that race distance?
I have never been so happy. That was this was probably the happiest day of my life, until I have a kid, or maybe a second kid, because the first one isn't good. Then this will be it.
Wow, as I've just gone a little bit blurry here, and I would say that's from being teary-eyed at what a fantastic result that has been. How critical has this been for you, Aiden, in terms of trying to build up this season and saying, you know what, this is what I've been trying to do, lap on lap, race after race, building yourself up to try and get into title contention, and now finally giving yourself a platform that says, you know what, I'm top dog this time, and I'm looking to build even further on that?
No, it's huge. It's huge. I've been working really hard at this. I've been training day in, day out. I've been in the weight room. I've been running. I want to give a huge shout out to all of the fans. I always see them in the chat. Absolute heathens in the chat. And I'm sorry for anybody who gets caught up in that swarm, because they are relentless. So it's huge. I don't think the title, we'll see about the title. There's a lot of race left, but Kamikaze does not make very many mistakes at all. I make quite a few. So it's going to be a lot of minimizing that moving forward.
I just want to say we've got perfect entertainment right now from Jake trying to get his camera to do what he wants.
It won't work.
Just want to talk about the calendar then, in terms of your strong suited combos, let's call them. Where do you think you can get the advantage on Kamikaze? Because I still think that championship is wide open.
I am really hoping next week is a good opportunity. I'm used to driving cars with no TC, ABS, more GT style, and the Ferrari Challenge around Long Beach fits my MO pretty well. So I'm looking forward to next week being a big one. If that's next week. If that's not next week, then whenever that is, I'm looking forward to that one.
Well, we will wish you the best of luck, Aiden, in terms of results there. A massive race win in terms of the context of the championship there and getting the job done. Second position overall would go to the champion, will not go to the championship leader. Instead, we will jump on in with a driver who would take second position overall. And I'm going to decide to mug off our producer straight back in terms of all of this and say, no, we are going to go straight to Blueberry, who did, in fact, steal that second place over the line. Blueberry, well, one, welcome to Creator Series. Two,
thank you.
What a way to take second.
Yeah, I was a little confused at first. Like, I'm like, why is he giving it to me? And then I left the car and I was like, oh, that makes sense. You know, sniped second place. It's really exciting for a debut. I was so nervous about today.
How did you enjoy fighting in the top three there? Because you had to be really patient for it, didn't you? It didn't get to you easy, and you were just opportunistic in making the moves.
Yeah, I knew that both of them were really fast, and I didn't want to be in that second or first position because I knew that, like, you know, I'd have to worry about behind me, and I think the safer position was to be in third. And, you know, maybe something might happen later on.
In terms of your position coming into a race like this, you know that you're out there, you're stage hunting, you're aura farming, however you want to try and put it together. In terms of coming into this series, not just as a creator looking to race, but as on top of that, the first ever VTuber, I believe, to ever do a creator series race. How important was a result like that today to trailblaze for more VTubers and creators behind you?
Oh, well, I'm pretty new to the whole, like, VTubing thing, so I think it might inspire a lot of my other friends and the other VTubers in the community to, you know, get out there and go participate in events and get their names out there as well. And, you know, I try to support them as the best I can. Very, very fortunate to have the community that I have, and yeah.
And in terms of the rest of the season, will you be a regular runner? Will we see you putting Kamikaze, Aiden Paul, and possibly other people under even more pressure?
I hope so.
Well,
looking forward to it.
Absolutely. We'll talk about what comes along next because it's going to be a Ferrari challenge that becomes the next port of call for everyone. So in terms of now looking at the season and saying, how are you going to stack up next? Ferrari challenge, so bring yourself into some Ferraris. And then at Long Beach, how do you feel about street circuits?
I've done NASCAR for the past like 6-7 years, so like I'm just now doing a lot of road, and I usually do like sports cars and stuff. So, you know, I'm not really good at street circuits, and also, you know, single monitor struggles. We might have to see what happens.
Well, we will wish you the best of luck. What a wonderful result there. A steal on the line from Blueberry on debut. The world's fastest doggo picks up position number 2 on the line. And finally to P3, a long wait. Sorry to do that to you, Kamikaze, but P3 in the end, 150 meters from the line, you find that the car coughs. How frustrating is that?
You can take a look at my stream tomorrow and see. That was a rage moment for sure. This was calculated, so yep. I missed that one, so yep.
Was it something to do with the... I don't like to bring it up, but the little moment that you had in turn 1 where you had to take a wider line, maybe use more throttle, more fuel. Is that the reason why you ran out of fuel, or was it just a slight miscalculation?
No. I just forgot the fuel save. That's the whole point. The last stint, I was on full throttle the whole time. I didn't fuel save enough. So I had calculated I can do 20 laps on one tank of fuel. without fuel saving on no push, but when I push I can only do 19, so yep, that's my mistake and all blame on me. But kudos to Aiden and Blueberry. That was good pace today. That was amazing. Fun racing.
You walked into today 270 points clear at the top of the championship, knowing how critical the points gap is that you're starting to build. You only dropped points to one driver here today. So do you feel that in terms of you against the field, it sort of feels, you know, almost Michael Jordan-esque, Tiger Woods-esque? You know, it looks like Alex Palou sometimes when you talk about IndyCar. For you, does this look like a season now where, you know, coming second or third, as much as it stings, do you think it gives you focus for the next round, Long Beach, for the Ferrari Challenge?
I have done some testing in Long Beach. That will be a safety car track for sure with these cars we're gonna drive. So we will see. It's a quali. I think that is a quali track. You need to do a good qualification. But yeah, and the last half of the season is not my style of racing. It's a lot of ovals and kind of things I never done before. So had a good points gap. It's good for the championship for sure. I still extend the lead, I think, to the P2 and P3. So we will see at the end of next week and take a look at the scoreboard and see what we can do. Maybe we need to put in some practice for the ovals.
I don't think so. Last time out, when we had ovals on the track, it went really, really well. We didn't have any incidents whatsoever.
Oh, okay. That will for sure. Okay, this field I can guarantee we're gonna have some safety cars.
Well, we all wish you the best of luck when it comes to action next time out. Kamikaze coming to the line in third position, and only a couple points drop there after that small issue. John, unfortunately, I'm not going to be here for the next 2 rounds of the championship. I am a little bit inconvenienced by getting married, so that leaves me in a position of I can't quite jump in and do exactly what I want to here with the Creator Series, but it will be left in your very good hands to head to Long Beach, a circuit which is, at the best of times, iRacing's version of Monaco.
Oh, chaos. Everybody loves a bit of chaos. But I will say, if there was ever an excuse to hop out of the commentary box for any length of time, that one is probably among the first of the very, very valid ones. So, yeah, I think everybody will join me in wishing you that everything goes well for your marriage and indeed for the honeymoon after it.
Well, it's all about great racing here today when it comes to the Creator Series. And what we love about great racing is that everybody can be involved. Up and down the order, left, right, up, down, slantways. You could have taken the great glass elevator today to watch some great sim racing action and see that everybody would be on a level that says, I am top billing. But it is all about potential. And finally, after race after race, after close call, after close call, after close call, finally, at the top of the pops, it is Aiden Pohl who gets his victory and now will be rejuvenated trying to chase down Kamikaze. We will see you in 7 days' time when we head ourselves over west side as we go to Long Beach, California.